All right, so today, episode 2 with Jacob again. How's it
Yes,
going,
yes,
man?
yes. Not too bad. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great as usual.
Amazing.
Usual. It's funny because we always have like the same response.
Cookie
No,
cutter response,
yours
bro.
is always like, yeah, not too bad. My response is like, I'm doing great as usual.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah. Man.
it's funny.
What's the weather
Yeah,
like in
cool.
are you in Bali right now? Or...
Yeah, yeah. I just got back 2 days, 3 days ago.
Nice,
Had to leave for a bit. But yeah, the weather here is always the same. It's like hot, humid. Sometimes it's rainy, sometimes it's sunny, but it's always hot.
nice.
It's actually getting a little bit colder now because the winter from Australia. That's why a lot of people are traveling here. Like this
Right.
is like the
Okay. So
yeah
it's
the
it's not
season.
like overwhelmingly hot. It's like enjoyably hot, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that. Yeah, this
Cool.
time of the year. How about you, bro?
Well, I mean,
You're in
it's
Sweden, right?
it's tropical for me, bro, and it's probably nowhere near as warm as it is for you. Let me check the weather. Today
Yeah,
is a high of a sweltering 18 degrees.
yeah.
Yeah,
18
man.
degrees. That's perfect, man. 16 to 20 is like perfect for me.
Yeah.
It's
Anything
it's
higher
funny
than that.
because I can yeah in like in Asia people don't check the weather. It's just the same every single day.
Yeah. Not like here, but it'll be like -10 in 6 months. So
Yeah,
can't wait for that.
yeah. Cool. So yesterday we had an interesting meeting on how like the I guess the market is shifting, right? Because now everyone has offers,
Yeah,
everyone's being pitched something.
yeah,
And me being in this industry, like I was a closer for like 3 years in a fitness offer, and then did affiliate marketing a bit, running my own agency. I just see it, like I just see in real time the change of like how people trust an offer before they hop on a call, they do reviews. They know what a strategy call is,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so all that kind of stuff. And one thing that we noticed, even when I was closing as well, is the fact that there are less and less like people showing up or less and less trust, right? So there are more work that needs to be done before people show up to the
Yeah,
call,
100%.
which is justifiable, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, and like this, I guess like today I want to talk about like what we discussed yesterday as well, the strategies that we find working in increasing show rate. Because one thing that we've been good at in most of the offers that we work with is increasing show rates
yeah.
to above
Above
70%
capable.
to be safe.
Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, once we notice that trend, we know what to do and how to increase it. So yeah, let's kind of touch on that and help people increase your show rate.
yeah,
Because
man.
if your show rate is below 50%, by the way, it's horrible.
Yeah, yeah. It's just terrible, man. You set up for a sales call, you
Yeah.
get yourself all prepped, and then all of a sudden, no one shows up. Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be a little bit of a live masterclass of show rate optimization, some of the things that we're doing. And it's funny because, kind of piggybacking on what you said now, the market is so much more sophisticated than it's ever been. Like people,
Yeah.
as you said, that like strategy call, great, sales call. People don't even consume VSLs the same. Like everything, and on top of that, if you're running paid ads, your CPMS are higher, so naturally it's more expensive to acquire the client, just by proportion. And essentially, a lot of people right now are
Yeah.
kind of they're slowly but surely like losing a lot of money, specifically in their sales process. So we'll run through some killer stuff. So cool. I guess what I can start with is share the funnel that we drive traffic to with this particular offer that we're going to review right now. It's funny, I was
Yeah.
talking to Nils Clement, the founder of Perspective, or one of the founders of Perspective yesterday, running through this funnel because I wanted to get his thoughts on it. And basically he was saying there's nothing we can really change in the funnel to make it better, which I low-key agree with. Very simple,
Nice.
kind of quiz funnel, strong copy. If you're reading this, you could earn X, Y, Z. How much would it take to replace your monthly income? This is if you run a B2C like BizUp offer, that is such a good qualifying question because it's less like kind of abrasive than like how much you make a month. It's
Yeah.
but it still qualifies people. How much would it take to replace your current monthly income? And then we do a little bit of a harder qualifier here. So imagine it's 6 months from today and you've fully remote car business and want 100% ROI on your investment to make this reality. How much are you willing to invest into building a profitable motor dealership operation and receiving coaching mentorship from successful dealerships, blah, 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 including obviously access to credit. So it was 1,000, 1,000, 3,000, 2,000. So pretty straightforward, kind of like quiz funnel, application funnel stuff. Goes to a booking
Yeah.
page, very straightforward, and then post booking page. Now we actually have a few updates to put onto this, because now that we have what I'm about to share, the Gamma doc, we're gonna have a straight direct link to that. So as soon as people have finished their application, they can start consuming the information. But this is kind of the best practices of what a very basic pre-call or thank you page funnel should look like, or thank you page in a funnel should look
Yeah.
like. Watch pre-call
Yeah.
video, so you have pre-call, confirm the call, make sure to accept the invite, yada yada yada, all these things. Cool. So that's just a basic
Yeah.
breakdown of the funnel, so people can kind of know what we're looking at here. But what I would do now is hop into, let me look at
And
the
it's
actual.
interesting because this offer, remember at
Yeah.
first when we started working, the show rate wasn't high enough that we want to. We made a few tweaks and changes. We sent a video message. We called them quicker. We kind of have a longer like discovery in the call. That increased the show rate to like 80%. But then at that time, it was purely just from Instagram, right? And the offer owner has like solid Instagram account, not big. He has like what 5K followers.
5,000, yeah.
Yeah, and that's enough to get the show rate to 80%. Now that we run more
That response.
more ads, direct
Yeah.
response ads, like the show rate naturally just drops because people don't know him that much,
Yeah.
right? Talking about the know, like, and trust. So now we have to build even more stuff to compress the time from when they see the ad, they book a call,
Yeah.
to when the call is happening. We need them to consume a lot of stuff, and this
Yeah,
is
100%.
what we came up with.
This is the thing as well that I think a lot of people sleep on. Like, we did 90K revenue in like 45 days purely through Instagram with a 5K follower account, which is just
Yeah.
ridiculous, right? And
Yeah.
that only happened because the offer was dialed. Like, what we won't run through here is the offer, but we'll run through some kind of like further stuff. But the offer was dialed, the sales process was dialed, the closes were dialed. I mean, you closed on the offer for a short amount of time, and obviously you crushed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the thing. So with this new offer, we pivoted away from, because we were focusing on kind of like just purely B2B, where it was like selling to car dealerships. Now it's more kind of circa B2C, B2B kind of vibe, where it's like we're selling to car salespeople. So it's still on paper, you could class a salesperson as a business within a business, if that makes sense, but it's more B2C, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll run through a couple of bits. So this is one of the assets that we send pre-call, and it is tremendously helpful for show rate, for increasing the intent of leads before they get to the call. And before I even hop into anything, I'm just going to give a quick masterclass on sales process, and a quick 2-minute masterclass, the set timer. So it's 8 minutes 27. So first off, people don't know, like, or trust you. They don't care about you. Your offer is good, but they've seen it 1,000 times before. So don't be selfish. If you expect people to show up and expect people to buy, you're just a bad marketer, a bad salesperson. So it's our job as marketers and salespeople to not only close people on calls, but to strategically move people through the sales process. Now, there are on paper like 3 stages. I like to say 4 stages of the sales process. There's like curious, like I'll book a call, I'll check the VSL out. Yeah, let's just see what they've got going on. Then they actually bridge into skeptical, where people now understand the mechanism, but they're like, right, because the offer is so good, because you've got all this beautiful looking funnel, etc., going on, it's got to be too good to be true. There's got to be something I'm missing here, something I know about, something that's a lie, right? So it goes from curious to skeptical, and then from skeptical, it then bridges into kind of like interested. And then when someone is interested, basically what you've done is you show them proof of concept, show them case studies, show them that they can trust the transformation that you're selling. And then after enough time, and this is where most people get it wrong, when you have an organic audience, like when we sold for the affiliate marketing YouTuber, he had 300,000 followers on YouTube. It was so deep to close for him, because all he ever did for the past 3 years is post basically biz up tutorials, right? Here's how you build this affiliate marketing business. Here's how you use this AI. Here's how you use Pinterest, WhatsApp, blah, 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 all these things, right? So it was very easy to sell, because the people who had accelerated their trust from consuming this content for hours and hours and hours. Now, if you don't have a massive backlog of YouTube content, you don't have that luxury. So what you need to do is condense that consideration phase, that research phase, into the 12 to 72 hours before they turn up to a call. One of the best ways to do that is what we have here. We call it a resource. This is a growing document. This will have more and more and more tabs. And transparently, we got this inspiration from Brooke Hiddink, one of the best in the game for pre-call process. If you check out his ads library and just see what he's doing with his pre-call stuff, it's ridiculous.
Mm.
But basically, this is a document which is essentially a funnel, and we send it to people pre-call. We eventually will be running ads to it as well, to people, only to the custom audiences of people who've actually booked their call with us. And essentially, it has all the information you could ever need to make a buying decision. And it means that people can consume the information. They can go through the full guide. This is like a 20-page full guide with a bunch of information. I'm going to add a few more visuals here to make it a little bit prettier and easier to read, etc. But it walks through everything: comprehensive program components, personalized onboarding, the core curriculum, strategic regulatory compliance, ongoing coaching, technology suite, community support. So that's everything you get. Here's our guarantee, right? But the ideal candidate, who's it for, who's it not suitable for? What's the cost of inaction of either doing it or not doing it? It's interactive, it's nice, right? So much information here. It's great. Even the stuff like the cost to start a traditional dealership compared to a digital dealership, which is just sick. So like, there's so much information here. And the thing is that this helps in two different ways, right? First off, it trains your leads on what to expect when they hop onto a call with you, but it also trains the salespeople. And I guess you can kind of touch a little bit on like ramping up salespeople to understand the product, because when you have a completely new salesperson who's beginning the ramp up phase, unless you've got the most bog standard offer in the world, hey, we'll help you build an agency, we'll help you do X, Y, Z, people need to learn. So I guess you can talk a little bit on that for a moment.
Yeah, I always break it down to two things, right? When it comes to like being a great closer.
Yeah.
One is just the sales skill, the closing skills. The other one is the product knowledge, right? And one part of the product knowledge is understanding the product or the service as a whole,
Yeah.
but also understanding where the prospect is at, what they know about the product. And that's why for all of our closers for different offers, what we do is we make sure they go through the whole customer journey. Book a call, look at the email sequence, look at all the pre-call resources, like put yourself in a position where you're the prospect and how you feel at that time, right? And then when you hop on the call, you understand where they're at, what their concerns are, what their questions are, and yeah, you can kind of understand where they're at, and then you can implement your closing skill, and that will help tremendously. And
Yeah.
we see it from like every single time. Even great closers can struggle with calls if they don't understand the customers, the prospects. So this is huge when it comes to that. And I always do that and tell them, remind them, do it every single week. One, we need a refresher, and the second thing is because we keep updating these pre-call resources.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, 100%. I think the other part as well, I think the third thing that I would touch on that you do as well, and that we do with most of our offers, or all of our offers, I should say, is we bombard them with case studies. Like, they don't get to breathe,
That's
man.
huge.
Like every day, every other day is like, hey, here's a win, here's a win, here's a win. Because the final missing component is like understanding the offer and the market, like having baseline sales skill. You know what? Next video, let's go through the decision tree. That'll be sick. Having baseline sales skill, understanding sales, and then finally having pure, unadulterated conviction. Because if you have a closer, and this is where you just got to like do the maths, right? You have a closer who understands where the prospect's at and understand how the product gets them to where they want to be. They have an intimate understanding of like sales process, of developing a conversation, of discovery, objection handling, pitching, all those bits, you know, better than me. And they have incredible conviction. They believe in the offer more than they believe in their cereal that they have every morning, right? You know?
Yeah.
You have those three things, you have a winning sales team every single time. And then you add on top of that stuff that we're going to run through now, which is the pre-call resources. And there is more, and I guess we can do some more videos as well to run through the other pre-call resource stuff that we do. But you add that to the process, yeah, man, you have game breaking, you know, close.
Yeah, 100%.
And
Yeah,
like
when
our
I was
KPIs.
closing,
Yeah, go on.
yeah, when I was closing for the fitness offer, whenever we had to drop either with me or the other closers, like we had a drop in close rate, like the first thing that we would do is look at case studies. Because sometimes it's just conviction, right? Energy is so important in sales calls.
Yeah, I think for a lot of agency owners, consultants, coaches, they're in this in-between phase where they may be at like 5 to 20, maybe 25K a month, but they're wearing all the hats. They're the marketer, they're doing fulfillment, they're also the salesperson. And for me personally, the most important first thing to outsource when you have proof of concept and you have a bunch of sales calls to train your team on and you have all that sort of stuff is sales. Because once you've got sales outsourced and once you've got ads running, essentially client acquisition is completely hands-free. So if you are kind of like in between that 5 to, let's say, 40K a month mark and still doing it all yourself, look into hiring a sales team. And if you are looking to hire a sales team, look into us, you know? But yeah, so yeah, to walk through it, right? This is essentially to take people through the sales process. The 3 things that we always have as a template is a full guide on how the offer works, or full guide on the offer, I should say. It looks like this button's a little bit buggy right now, but I'll update that. So a full guide on the offer, a guide on how the process works. Now, this is incredibly powerful, because what this actually does is we got to understand something, right? We are past the age and the era where you can just have a nice sales offer and a nice looking VSL and people just trust you. People want to come to a logical decision and it makes sense to move forward, right? Now, the emotional part of it, that part is the closer's job on the call to create the gap. Once the gap's created, to present the opportunity to bridge the gap with the offer to get someone to take action. That is the closer's job. But pre that, the person needs to have logical conviction that the process will work for them. Like I think so many people sleep on this so much and it's so ridiculous to me. They'll focus everything on emotion. How can I make this person feel that they're missing out? Bro, you are the 1,000th person that they've seen in VSL for. You are not special. You are not important in their life. And all you are doing is triggering sales resistance when you do that. So I find it much more impactful, especially pre-call, to inform people, to educate people, to frame people on the opportunity. So this process does them incredibly. So walks through everything that happens, do all the further steps, profit selection path. Got this here. I think it's funny. Maybe I'll change it. Some success stories. Now, for this client, we like to have the, I'll show the YouTube one as well. We like to have kind of like video testimonials as well for this one. This client has never got video testimonials from his clients yet. So this one we have written testimonials. However, it still works. It's not the best, but it still works. But I'll go through another version that I have here. So this one is for a massive client that we have, 25 million followers. He's looking to scale to 1 million a month. So it's going to be really exciting. But again, just walks through the entire process, content foundations, momentum and audience growth, monetization and product build, right? Everything, success stories, guarantee, there are a number, excuse me, let's edit that out, a number of client wins on this funnel as well. Huge client wins. Right. What's happened there then? Okay. But yeah, loads and loads cases and testimonials. Yeah, this is a document that our leads are sent pre-call to allow them to do their research, because the research process, Jeremy Hayes calls it the research process, right? When you're selling to like rich folks, the research process is literally everything, because they don't care about your guarantee or your offer. They care about proof of concept. They care about logic. And when you're selling to the general population, the research process is also important, but they need to essentially tie the research process to an end goal, right? And have a strong guarantee that backs it up as well. So essentially, build this, get it right, and you'll be cushioned, basically. Do you have any questions, Reese? Because I want to, answer your questions.
And one more important thing as well here, and you can see it in this page right here, is the FAQs and answer, right? Like we want to do all the heavy lifting up front. This is a feedback that we get from closers, like any questions that they ask, anything, let us know so we can overload it in the front end before they do the call. So FAQs are so important. Any questions that they have in their mind, it's already being answered here. So guess what? In the call, they don't have too much concerns. Right? So this is like basically pre-handling the objections. Some of the objections,
Considering this is a video on sales process, I can't believe I skipped over this, because this is I would almost argue it's the most important part of the document. But yeah, like the FAQs are huge, man. Huge. Because
Yeah.
again, you know, the way that I like to design sales process is to essentially have 3 underlying currents to everything that you do. So you have sales arguments, and these are things that are the sales arguments. So like, how does this offer make sense? How do I argue this? If I was in a court of law, right, and I had to say, this is why this makes sense, or I was speaking in front of 1,000 people, this is why this makes sense. Those are the sales arguments. So sales arguments, for example, for a content offer like this one would be, we live in a creative economy. You know, slowly but
Yeah.
surely, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok becoming the new TV advertising. So when you build a platform on there, you become an advertising platform, meaning you can make more money. That's a sales argument, right? You could talk about Mr. Beast, Speed, Kai Snap, Casey Neistat, all these, Alex Hormozy, these people with big audiences, right? And again, you kind of tie back the idea of having an audience to be able to monetize. That's a sales argument. And the next thing is a logical conclusion. So in order to buy a high ticket program, people need to come to certain logical conclusions. They need to, in their mind, not
Yeah.
just like be told something, but go, "Ah, I get it." That moment needs to happen, or else someone is purely buying an emotion. And most people in
Yeah.
2025 are not buying a $5,000 to $10,000 product pure on emotion. It's just not happening, right?
Yeah.
And what will happen as well is you'll see like this alone, like the logical conclusion, sorry, that they will inherently increase your close rate, because what will happen is when your closers talk to someone who's already come to those logical conclusions, they'll close easy like that. There'll be a laydown. There'll be a person who comes knowing
Yeah.
what they're looking for, knowing what their end goal is, knowing what their vision is. They have the amount of capital they need to get started. They've been saving up to get started. Those people lay downs every day. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be the worst salesperson ever, you'll still manage to close those people. However, that is
Yeah.
about 20% of the people you will ever speak to, max, maybe 5, honestly, for a lot of offers, right? So for that 95 to 80% of the rest of the audience, you need to help them come to those logical conclusions before we speak to them on a sales call. And if you don't, what ends up happening is you do 2 call closes where you fill out your calendar with second calls, which just means you have less call volume, you can make less money, right? So in order
Yeah.
to kind of get people through the sales process, again, coming to those logical conclusions. So a logical conclusion for our offer would be something like, if I don't start running ads, my competitors will take my clients before I have a chance to actually get them.
Yeah.
Leverage in terms of having a sales team, in terms of having ads, in terms of having a pre-call process that warms people up, is never going to hurt the business. Those are logical conclusions. You got to come to and say like, damn, you are right. I'm never going to lose by acquiring more clients, having salespeople to take those calls for me, and having a sales process that has the clients already pre-sold before they get to the call. That's a logical conclusion to go, damn, that makes so much sense. And then finally, the last thing is FAQs. Like, if you can
Yep.
answer the top 10 questions that someone has before they hop on a call, and you've given them the sales arguments to help them shift their beliefs and frame them, and you've given them logical conclusions, so they're like actually logically process driven to make a decision, and they've got the FAQs, damn, closing is easy. It's literally on easy mode.
Yeah.
So if you are not already doing this stuff with your pre-call process, first off, get to it. Second off, get to it. You know?
Yeah. That's why one of the most important things when we onboard a client is like, hey, give us all the resources that you have. Like, yeah, we have a form, all of that stuff to, make sure that we can create like the offer statement and all of that. But any other resources, any other testimonials, any FAQs that you got before,
Yeah.
like send it to us so we can create this whole like pre-call assets
Yeah.
just from the get-go,
Yeah.
right? We want to just load it up at the start so we can squeeze as much as we can.
And it's funny because as we're speaking, we're like, Ro, who's our tech lead, we got to get him on a podcast at some point. I don't know, is this even a podcast
Yeah.
or just whatever it is? We got to get him online on one of these one time, because he's building an AI solution to do call reviews and find out what the FAQs and objections are. And we'll probably have
Yeah.
that sent to like a spreadsheet where it like lists like the top FAQs that happen in a week, so we can build another sales asset for that. It's going to be so
Yeah.
good. But yeah, and I guess the other thing that we can tease, and we can touch on this maybe later in the week, is how we do our pre-call emails as well. Because this is something
Yeah.
that me personally, I take a lot of pride in. This is something we implemented for our very first client, who we closed 30K in 3 days for when we launched.
Yeah.
Which was really quite exciting. 30K cash, by the way, not revenue, 30K cash is the pre-call sequence. So again, shout out to Jeremy Haynes. Your pre-call emails are absolute free real estate. Like we've seen on average across all our offers, pre-call emails get around a 50 to 60% open rate. And it can be high if you have better subject lines, of course, right? So
yeah,
it doesn't matter whether you send 2 or 20, you have about 60% of those, 50, 60% of them get open. So if you have 10 emails, right, to frame, educate, shift beliefs, provide logical conclusions, answer FAQs, you know, reinstate the guarantees, show case studies, send video assets, send assets like this. Why are you not doing that? You got 10 emails worth in the pre-call sequence to just go ahead and frame people. So for us, our pre-call kind of dials down to these 3 things, and we'll run into the free training funnel at some point. We put together a 30-minute free training funnel, which is a VSL funnel essentially, but not with any direct response stuff, just purely education and framing. We do our pre-call gamma guide as well, which walks through everything someone could ever want to know about the offer, how it works, etc. And then we also send high volume email sequences with a lot of information, a lot of framing, a lot of belief shifting, and a bunch of FAQs and objection handling stuff in there. Those 3 things alone takes cold audiences, and because ads is always cold, right? As long as you've gone outside of your, you know, your warm targeting, which you should do if you want to grow. The only way to grow is actually to target cold people. Once you've gone outside of your kind of like inner circle of people who know, like, trust you already, you've got to be doing these things to take people through the sales process. And if not, you're just wasting your time, your closer's time, and their time as well. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, definitely. And what we cover right here, everything that we cover pretty much can get you from, you know, low show rate, no show, people who are skeptical, people who are like, I need to do more research after the call, all of that kind of stuff. It will just eliminate most of that issue, pretty much, right? So yeah, and that's like our goal is very simple with every offer, right? Get the get people in the calendar. That's the first thing, right? And then get the show rate to 80%. That's like the KPI, 80% and above. And then get the close rate to over 40%. Personally, I want my closers to close above 45%. And the best way to do it is by loading all of these stuff. So if you haven't yet implemented all of this, make sure you do it. Like, that's the most high leverage thing you can do today, right now. If you need help or anything, you can always ask us questions here. I can put my Instagram below. We don't really post on Instagram just because we've been in the trenches, you know, dealing with like the stuff with the clients. So, but feel free to DM us. I'll put Jacob's Instagram as well in the description. Ask any questions. We're here to help in any way. If you need more of a done for you kind of thing, where we do it for you, you don't have time to manage it, or you don't want to go through all the hassle, just let us know. We'll figure it out for you.
Yeah. And what we can do as well, I'm going to be putting together, I'll give a little teaser. I'm going to be putting together a kind of like a free training document, as well as a little freebie for people who want to comment. So if you want to get access to that, comment what you want to see in the document, because I'm building it as we speak. And then when it's ready to launch, you'll get early access to it. And this is going to be like our goal in this period right now is to share every single piece of game on sales, marketing, sales process, ads, offers that we could possibly have, so that we can essentially build trust, trust with you guys. And when we do go to, you know, launch our bigger picture thing, we're going to have a bunch of people ready to do business with us. So we want to make you guys ready to scale. So yeah, can't wait to drop that. So comment what you want to see in future videos. Let us know how this video was. Give us some feedback. Drop us a follow on Instagram, and we'll see you for tomorrow.
Awesome. And if you want us to cover anything in our future videos, comment down below and we'll just show everything, what we're doing, pretty much. What 100%. We find work, what we find don't work, all of that stuff, right? Cool. All right, Jacob. Guess we got to get back to the trenches, work with the clients, finish up the assets and everything. As always, it's a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon. And for the YouTube guys on YouTube, like, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you guys tomorrow.
Video.